Next week is my wedding anniversary. I will have been married 14 years. Together 15 years and married 14, and it feels really amazing to celebrate this relationship, to celebrate the time that we have grown together, shared life and experiences, grown a family, and just been two humans that have existed together successfully for this amount of time. I work with a lot of couples, and it's one of my most diverse areas of my work, because there isn't one couple that presents the same as another. And this is the beauty of relationship work, is that it is diverse. And that what I love to bring into my work is the questioning of how we do relationship and why. A lot of us, me included, have spent a lot of years doing relationship because of what we were taught or shown, or the influence around us. Society has huge conditioning around relationship and what it should or shouldn't be like, what is right and wrong. And yet actually what is right for one couple might not be right for another. And one of the things that I love to explore in my own relationship and in the relationships that come to me is, how can we recreate relationship to really express who we both are individually and as a union? And actually, there might be other people involved in this. It might not be just as linear as one and another coming together. And so let's look at the big picture, and let's look at this creatively, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and intellectually. And let's shake the apple tree and see where we end up. And this is one of the most exciting aspects of my work, is to hold the hands of couples that want to explore, why do they do relationship the way they do? And what if we shook the apple tree and we redesigned it to fit them individually much better? One of the really common perceptions that we come with in long-term relationships is that other people's sex lives are far more exciting and active than ours. This is such a weird sort of silent thing that we don't talk about in society very much. Our sex life. When you're in a long-term relationship, it kind of feels a bit taboo to talk about sex. You know, in the early days of a connection, sexuality and sex and that sexual connection between you and your partner is there, it's obvious, it's vibrant, it's happening. Something is happening. And so there's a lot of assumption made from the people around us in those early years. But actually, as a relationship deepens and becomes more long-term, I guess, what happens is that this conversation becomes taboo. We don't talk about our sex lives so easily and safely amongst our peers, our colleagues, our friends. And I just want to say why. I want to question that. And actually, it is a myth that everybody else is having a better sex life than you. I think it's really common that as you grow in relationship with another, that you will become more and more familiar with each other from a cellular level. Your bodies know each other's bodies. You know the smells, you know the tastes, you know the sounds. That knowing of each other from our body's perspective just becomes comfortable. And as we grow older, as we evolve and we're maybe raising children, or we're growing businesses, or we're doing life, we are changing, consistently growing and evolving. And unless we're putting in some really consistent work into our long-term relationship, often what happens is that we just become too familiar, too comfortable, and we become a little bit passive to that other, that significant other. And what happens over time is that connection that drew you together, becomes less and less. And I have found that with the couples that I work with who are in a long-term relationship, and by that I mean it can mean different for different people. Some would consider anything over 18 months, 2 years to be a long-term relationship. Others would say 5 years. Some would say 10 years. It doesn't really matter. It's what you consider for your experience to be long-term. It's that moment when you become familiar. It's that moment where something inside feels that that connection, that drive to be together, knowing of each other, that excitement, that depth just feels stagnant or slow, or that something might have been lost, or that there is just something more that could be. That comfortable feeling can actually start to become problematic. And so the sex life between you and your significant other or others can often be affected by this. Connection for the female is absolutely vital. For the woman to feel that she is met, seen, heard, understood, cherished, wanted, desired. This is so important for her eros, for her sexuality. And for the man, it's so important that they feel that there is new stimuli, that there are new challenges, that there is a desire from the other for them. If they feel desired, if they feel that they are stimulated with their senses, the man falls deeply into his eros and his superpowers. And so what happens is that we lose that sparky energy between us, or at least it starts to waver. And I work with couples who are up for trying all sorts of experimentation to try and revive something. But more importantly, and I think this is really key, it's to learn anew who you are in this stage of your relationship, and to be willing to deconstruct everything you once knew to be the absolute, or the right way or the wrong way, to really clear that out and look at a blank sheet of paper and be willing to bring different colours and different pens and different styles, to have some time together of exploration and play, and really looking back into who am I right now in this moment of my life, and who are you, my partner, or my partners, who are you in this moment? And as we get to know ourselves more deeply and share that with our partners, then we can really start to then evolve more creatively and more passionately and more beautifully. It's absolutely key that both partners want to make some changes, but it's not make or break if only one of you does. If only one partner wants to make changes, there can be huge benefits to that. But ultimately, the best path is when both partners come with the desire for change, the desire for growth, the desire for connection. And in this part of your relationship, by coming together, you are already starting to change the fizz, to increase the energy and the drive. For a woman, environment is really important. Is the environment safe, nurturing, creative, beautiful, whatever it might be for that particular feminine energy? What is that environment like? For the man, for the masculine, it's not so important about the environment, but really what is important for the masculine is that he feels desire, freedom and safety, that he knows that he can lead if that's what the role he's taken, or that he can submit, but it's clear whichever way it chooses to fall, and he understands and he feels the permission. Another beautiful way to really increase your connection in this time is by learning to revise and review your communication. We do a lot of work in authentic relating. One of our team works as an ART, authentic relating trainer, in how to really observe your own communication, your micro truth, what's alive in you and how do you communicate that, owning yourself first and foremost. And then how do you communicate outwardly to your intimate partner in a way where they can hear you, respond, and own their own intimate communication? And how do you both grow within that? This really is such a beautiful way to revive and review your relationship, is through authentic communication. And another thing that we would really encourage is to do it playfully and to bring back in, or in for the first time, a new way to play together. And what does that look like? The first step of that is learning what is play for you as an adult, as an older person, and someone who may have different ideas around play now. Or you might not even be able to connect to that side of you, and that's a really good place to start. What is play? What is play for me as an individual, and how can I engage with that with my partner? Learning about projection in relationship is also another top tip. Are you projecting onto your partner, or are you able to really own your own shit? Is it something that is always someone else's issue, or are you able to stand comfortably with your own responsibilities? This is a beautiful shift when we just own ourselves and own our new truth as an older and wiser and more mature person. Who is that person? And are we holding all of our own bags, or are we still expecting someone else to carry them for us? Another top tip that I really encourage is to avoid heavy alcohol or heavy drug use. I think that this just becomes such a distraction to what I would consider sacred sexuality. Meeting each other in that beautiful space of just being free and clean from anything. The only thing that I really would advocate, and I think can be an amazing adventure, playful and opening and connecting and beautiful, is CBD oil. And there are good suppliers of this and there are not such good suppliers. So make sure that if you want to get involved in this kind of activity together, that you really get a good, clean supplier and you really know what you're doing. Always start small. But CBD oil can be an amazing addition to reconnection, finding each other again anew. And I would highly recommend this as part of your play practice. At Sensitivita, we offer experiences for couples where we really just walk alongside you on a journey of long-term stagnation into long-term depth and beauty and erotic fun and play and pleasure. This isn't about waking up your sex life so you're at it all the time like newly-wed couples. This is not about that. It's not about the frequency of sex. It's about the connection between you both in all areas of your life. And from that, deeper, richer, more beautiful, more experimentative, more fun, more playful sex normally comes very naturally. I experience sex with my long-term husband in a way that I haven't known him before. He's consistently evolving sexually, as I am too. Because we are always questioning, we are always stepping out to try new things, we are always having fun, making sure that we have time for each other outside of our everyday routine and rhythm, making sure that we're not always having time off with the kids, making sure that we have time by ourselves, for our own adventures, for our own play, filling our cup, knowing who we are individually and bringing that back into our connection and our energy field. And this is powerful. And this is all part of looking at the big picture of who we are and who we are around all the other people that are involved. And how can we live as free individuals in a long-term relationship? And I would encourage anyone who feels that they are in a relationship that has just gone too comfortable, or it just feels that you're never having sex and that sexuality is something you both don't share anymore. And maybe there is just a little bit inside of you that knows this could change. And I assure you it really can. And we would take you safely on a journey of waking this up and finding out what is the bespoke route for you and for your partners. And we would love to take you on something really special and transformative. We have worked with many couples now who are still, even this week, I had an email from a couple who told me that they are still quoting some of the experiences they had with us on and off over 6 weeks, that they still are blown away by the change it has made in their entire life. So I really look forward to meeting more and more diverse and beautiful couples who want to shake that apple tree and bring back in this pleasure, this movement, this energy, this relationship, and not just settle for what is, but asking, what if? What if?